Afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the November 9, 2022 Glendale Civil Service Commission meeting. Can we have a roll call, please?
Yes. Commissioner Abkarian?
Here.
Commissioner Astorian?
Here.
Commissioner McCarley?
Present.
Chair Hartunian?
Present.
And for the record, Commissioner Gazarian is absent.
He is, I know he's on his way. Is he walking in? He may be running a little late, but I know he's on his way, so, well. Thank you. What's next?
Minutes for approval.
Which actually, Mr. Historian and McCarty, I think, were absent, if I'm not mistaken. So let's wait until Mr. Gazarian get here so we can actually have a majority to actually vote for it. Is that okay?
Yeah. And then I guess we will come back to item number 2. Then what's next?
Oral communications.
Ms. Adams, do you have any?
Do we have anyone?
We have no calls and no cards.
Okay.
All right. Next item, please.
Recruitment and examination report.
Thank you, Ms. Adams.
Yes, Mr. Chair and members of the commission, this is the regular recruitment and examination status report, which represents the current recruitments in process and that our team is currently working on. You'll notice that our team has reduced the number of recruitments from 89 in October to 77 today. These are different recruitments that are in various stages, and this report reflects those various stages. If the commission has any questions, I'd be happy to answer them. Otherwise, this is a note and file item.
Thank you. Any questions? No questions. Thank you. Next item, please.
Eligible list established.
Ms. Adams.
Yes, Mr. Chair and members of the commission, the subject before the commission is the regular report that includes all of the eligible lists that were recently established since our last meeting. This report includes the total number of applications and the total number of individuals that have advanced through the various stages of our examination processes. Since our last meeting, we have had a total of 20 lists that were established. 9 were open to the public, 11 were given on a promotional basis. This is a note and file item. However, if the commission has any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Thank you. Any questions? No questions. Thank you. Next item, please.
Public hearing, probationary period.
Ms.
Yes,
Adams.
Mr. Chair and members of the commission, the subject before the commission is an update to the list of classifications that are required to complete a 1-year probationary period or working test period. This subject earlier came to the commission in September, and since then, the Human Resources team has socialized this list to all 5. The IBEW asked about continuing to include apprentice job classifications. However, that issue has now been resolved. The apprentice classifications are designated as unclassified and therefore are removed from the list. The IBEW also inquired about power system trainee classification and stated that their belief that the probationary period should be reduced to 6 months. In dialogue with Glendale Water and Power and their leadership about the length of time it takes to be effective and measure the employee's future success, GWP opined that 6 months for this specific classification is too short to train on the essential functions of the job and to determine if the employee can safely perform the essential functions. GWP feels strongly that the 12-month probation is appropriate. Human Resources did provide this feedback to IBEW, and IBEW did not ask for any further questions or ask for any additional discussion on this subject. Human Resources did invite IBEW to attend tonight's meeting if they wish to raise anything further. The resolution before you was last amended in December of 2020. The proposed revisions reflect additional classifications to the list, a couple of deletions, removal of those classes that were obsolete, and updates to classification titles. So we are now seeking an adoption to the resolution as presented. We do have a leader from Glendale Water and Power here, and we have Russ Kwan here from our Human Resources, who are available to answer any questions that you may have.
Thank you. Sure.
With respect to allowing for discussion, I would move to adopt the resolution as stated.
Any other comments, questions? No? Sorry?
I just seconded for
Okay.
discussion purposes, so.
And if there's no discussion, I would assume that we would vote.
Vote on it then.
Roll call.
So I assume we don't have anybody from
No one from IBW is here.
Correct.
Go ahead.
Okay. Commissioner Abkarian,
Yes.
Commissioner Astorian,
Yes.
Commissioner McCarley,
Yes.
Chair Hartunian.
Yes. Thank you. Next item, please.
Class specification series and job bulletin for approval, Human Resources Analyst series and Human Resources Associate and Human Resource Analyst job bulletins.
Ms. Adams?
Mr. Chair and members of the commission, before you is a request to modify the Human Resources Analyst Classification Series and to open the job bulletin for Human Resources Analyst and Human Resources Associate. The Human Resources Analyst Classification Series was last modified in 2018. The Human Resources Department has 2 vacancies to fill, 1 Human Resources Analyst and 1 Human Resources Associate. Previously, the department recruited on a promotional basis. However, today, there are no internal employees who meet the requirements for the analyst position, and there are only 2 who might meet the minimum qualifications for associate. And the department also seeks to broaden the candidate pool to have a list from which to fill these 2 vacancies. The suggested class specification edits are applicable to the entire class series, even though we are only filling the vacant positions. The job bulletins are consistent with the revised classification specification. These positions are both exempt from the Glendale City Employees Association and the Glendale Management Association. However, as a courtesy, both the GCEA and the GMA were notified about this item and the pending open recruitment. Neither association expressed any concerns. If the commission has any questions, HR staff and I will be happy to answer them.
Thank you. Are there any questions?
I do, Mr. Chair, if you don't mind.
Sure.
Ms. Adams, your opening date for this bulletin is November 14th, and it goes through 2 weeks and 1 day. Is that sufficient time to be able to attract a pool of candidates outside of the 2 that you have?
It may or may not be, but if you have a closing date of November 29th and there are not adequate amount of candidates who have applied, we can extend it.
Thank you.
And, Ms. Propet, we can take the entire series as a whole, right? We don't need to vote on them individually.
Absolutely.
Okay. Move to approve.
Second.
Roll call.
Commissioner Abkarian,
Yes.
Commissioner Astorian,
Yes.
Commissioner McCarley,
Yes.
Chair Hartunian.
Yes. Thank you. Next item, please.
Reports and information, employee job performance evaluations.
Thank you. Ms. Adams?
Yes, Mr. Chair and members of the commission, before you is an informational report on performance evaluation and the return status for the City of Glendale's employees. As you can see, the response rate is 99%, with only less than 1% past due. When this agenda was published, there was one evaluation on the second notice list, indicative of it being 59 days past due. However, that one evaluation has been completed and returned to the HR office this past Monday. Therefore, there are no evaluations remaining on the second list. If the commission has any questions, I'd be happy to answer them. Otherwise, this is a note and file item.
Thank you, and good job. Any questions?
I just want to do something that Lloyd Coleman used to do, which is to read the name of the departments that don't have any past due employee evaluations at all, which is the city attorney's office, city clerk's office, city treasurer's office, community service and parks, finance, fire, library, arts, culture, police, and public works.
Thank you. Let's see. Next item, please.
Civil Service Commission staff comments.
Any comments? I have a comment. I know Commissioner McCarley has to leave a little early to give a speech on the occasion of the Veterans Day coming up. On behalf of our commission, I would like to salute all our veterans that continue to serve in our city, and all the rest of the veterans in general. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Everyone, all the veterans for their service and their sacrifice, starting with our fellow Commissioner McCarley and the rest of the veterans, again, who continue to serve for our city and who have served our country. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for your service.
Thank you, Commissioner Historian, and all my fellow commissioners, on behalf of all veterans.
Thank you. Next item, please.
Closed session.
Okay, so if you could just read the item into the record, please.
Closed session, public employee hearing, Police Sergeant.
So we will now go into closed session. We will turn off the cameras, ask everyone who is not here for that item to leave the room. We will not be reporting out today. So at this time, we would ask GTV 6 to turn off.
If you guys could turn the microphone.